Cairo. Lebanon's government collapsed Wednesday, throwing the country into its biggest crisis since 2008 and marking a major setback for U.S. efforts to ensure stability in the combustible nation and region. This largely due to the fact that the Hezbollah coalition has resigned. We wanted to get to the bottom of this very quickly, and for that we turn to Dr. Walid Phares. He's joined us before. He is the senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, the author of The Coming Revolution, Struggle for Freedom in the Middle East, and born and raised in Beirut. Dr. Phares, thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
All right. So tell us what this says to you, this resignation by Hezbollah. What does this do for the future of the struggle for freedom in the Middle East, to use the title from your book?
Well, absolutely. There's a whole chapter in the book, The Cedars Revolution, and how basically this event yesterday, the collapsing of the Lebanese cabinet, is basically aimed at crushing that Cedars Revolution. That would be the equivalent of the communists coming back after the revolts of Budapest or after the Prague Spring. That's the most visible comparison. Hezbollah has been planning for that move, which I call, by the way, a coup. Have been planning for it since 2008, as you mentioned in the introduction in the Washington Post article. In 2008, May, Hezbollah invaded Beirut and part of the mountain in Lebanon to collapse then a real pro-Western government. What was collapsed yesterday was a half pro-Western government, because already Hezbollah had about 11 ministers who, when they resigned, basically dismantled the government. So what is important for us to understand is that now there is no government in Lebanon to respond to the international community.
And what should the international community's response be, in your view?
Well, the United States should immediately take the issue to the Security Council, along with their allies, and say this, because that's the issue of that pushed Hezbollah to do it. There is a internationally sponsored tribunal that is investigating the assassination of former Prime Minister Hariri, if you recall, in 2005, the father of the Prime Minister, current Prime Minister Saad Hariri. Hezbollah knows that this tribunal is going to issue indictments of members of Hezbollah. That's the whole story. And they have collapsed the government, so there will be no executive power in Lebanon that will proceed to the arrests of officials of Hezbollah. So the United States must, with the United Nations, say, we will support the tribunal. That's the most important and immediate step we recommend the administration to do. And I think they may do this, but they need the encouragement of the United States Congress to go forward in it.
All right. Who controls the military now? And obviously Hezbollah is very powerful. To me, that is the key, is to where the Lebanese military will go. And is Hezbollah even stronger than the military is currently anyway?
Well, I have bad news here. First of all, Hezbollah is the only largest militia left since the war of Lebanon in 1990. So they can basically control all of the Shia areas, and they can even burst into the Christian, Druze, and Sunni areas. Number two, inside the Lebanese army, you have a penetration by Hezbollah. So Hezbollah controls its own areas and can go inside the Lebanese army and break it if something happens. Third, the actual leadership of the Lebanese army and the president of Lebanon are, close to Syria. So there is no chance that the sitting president now, because the government is gone, and the army could contain. But one thing could happen. If Hezbollah crosses the red line and moves into Christian, Druze, or Sunni areas, they will be risking a resistance, a very strong resistance on behalf of civil society there. So they're trying to control the institutions. They're really thinking twice before moving on the ground into other areas, because that could bring back the civil war.
How much is Iran and or Syria involved in this move by Hezbollah?
Well, that's not a surprise to experts. Anybody who has a good knowledge of how things function there would tell you that it is an Iranian move. I mean, it's not just Hezbollah is moving. Hezbollah can't and wouldn't move without instructions from the Pasdaran, or the Quds Force, meaning the specific instructions from the supreme leader of the republic there, of the Islamic Republic, Khamenei. Syria has to agree, because Syria has borders with Lebanon, and if Iran wants to supply Hezbollah, Syria has to agree. So what we see now, if we're going to read it on a regional scale, gentlemen, it's Iran and Syria telling Hezbollah, go get Lebanon, complete your domination in Lebanon. Remember, 48 hours before there was the return of, the Mahdi leader, al-Sadr, to Iraq.
Yes.
What we see in northern Yemen, for example, is the expansion of the Houthis in the north. So it is really part of an Iranian strategy that wants to grab as much power in the region so that the international community could not apply really the sanctions against Iran. That's my big reading.
My concern is that essentially the West, and in the United States especially, will say in order to prevent some type of civil war from occurring in Lebanon, we will deal with Hezbollah, and essentially Hezbollah will gain complete control of the government.
Well, that already happened in May 2008. At the time, there was a debate in Washington, should we or should we not intervene? The majority then in Congress told the administration, at the end of its mandate then, no, don't intervene.
Mm-hmm.
The Lebanese will figure it out. The people, the government of Qatar will do it. It ended up by giving Hezbollah control over the airport, by giving Hezbollah a slice of the government. Now that Hezbollah collapsed the government, we're going to watch and see how the U.S. administration is going to act about it. Because if they recognize what Hezbollah has done, Lebanon has done. And if Lebanon has done, it means that Iran and Syria could move more missiles and force Lebanon, bringing the region, to the brinkmanship of a confrontation with Israel.
Scary stuff. Dr. Walid Phares, we always appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Dr. Phares.
Thank you. Thank you.